back to Blue Heart Craft Catch-Up episode number 101. So I've changed my recording schedule to where it's now every 2 weeks that I am uploading these craft catch-ups, just so I'm not rushing to try and feel like I've got to make progress on everything. You know, if there's one project taking a bit longer, that's fine, it doesn't put the pressure on me. And I thought that was going to be great, except first week when I was supposed to be doing it, I forgot it had been 2 weeks. So this video is now coming up 3 weeks. To be fair, a lot of issues going on that week, and it'll make a bit more sense as I go further into the video. But welcome back. My name is Abby, live in the northwest of the UK with my family. I have 2 dogs who do like to make appearances quite a lot. I believe one's walked behind me during the video already. The other one's sat off to the side staring at me. He's normally the one who likes to decide to roll around and make a loud noise as soon as I start filming. So we'll see how we get on with that. But anyway, let's see what I've been up to over the past 3 weeks. Don't expect a load of progress. As I said, there have been things going on. It's been chaotic, to say the least. But anyway, I'm going to get showing you what I've been working on. So I do have a finished object for this week, and it is one of the flower pens that I am making for my sister. When I showed her the book, she requested one for her and 2 colleagues. So she's picked out a sunflower, a daffodil and a rose. So I've done the stems for all 3. I did do the leaves for all 3 as well, which is why I've actually done more than just this. And those petals took a while, and sewing them on, I'm terrible with sewing and spacing them out. I was dreading trying to space out the petals and making them all look even and not put them quite close together, and then realise I've got loads of space and have to, like, you know, take them apart and restart and keep trying to judge it. So what I actually did, a lot of people probably already do this is probably not a new thing, but I thought, oh, let's do it this way, and it was actually a lot easier. So what I actually did was I put on one at opposite ends, and then I did the opposite, like to cut the flower up into quarters, and then the other 4 put them in between, and that made it really easy to make them look really spaced out, and they look quite good, I think. So yeah, that is what we've got. This is supposed to have leaves, however, didn't do the leaves because whenever I was putting them on, it just, like, if you take the pen off and hold it here, it's practically already up at where the flower is, and then just adding the leaves onto it, just it felt like it was too much and it was going to become a hindrance writing. It doesn't tell you what brands of pens to use, and there is ways that you can alter it to fit whatever pen you need, and the designer does tell you how to in the pattern. I've used these are Bic. I've made them a bit longer so I can pull them down when the cap's off if they prefer to write with it there, or they can push it up and it can fit with the cap on. I just thought these to use these pens, as it's for my sister's work, they have to use black pens, and also these are easy to get more of. It's not like a hard pen to buy, and they're relatively cheap but good quality, so that's why I went for them, and they should fit with most other biros, to be honest. So yeah, we've got one pen done. The book I got it from was by Not Monsters, and it is their flower pens book. I've done a pattern by this designer before, and I've noticed similar issues that I found with the original pattern to the pattern I've done previously, which was a crochet uterus. Yeah, that's a whole story in itself. But anyway, if I start going on to that, I'll start going on to tangents with everything, and we'll never get through this video. But what I noticed is there's the odd errors in the book. I think it is because it's a self-published book that they've not had that, like, you know, testing to a level that a publisher can afford to do necessarily. I did notice one error in one of the patterns that I've done so far, and I've noticed it does assume that you know what they're talking about a fair bit. Like, don't get me wrong, the pictures in there are great, there's quite a few pictures, but it just says, like, you know, it'll just say part, sew it on, and not say, you know, where about to sew things onto each other. And for example, pay for pattern, so I'm trying to be careful what I say. So like some pots do start off with a magic ring. It'll just say like magic ring 10, and it's assuming that you know to do a magic ring and then put 10 single crochets in. So I would not say that this is a good book for beginners. It's, don't get me wrong, it's not bad patterns. I think the way some techniques are done is really creative, and the shapes of the petals, how they've come up with that, you know, because there are like other shaped and designs and all that. I do think that they are good in that respect, and the way they've come up with the concept of the flower actually having a pot. My sister said she doesn't want the pots, so that's why they're not done. But yeah, so I noticed there are good concepts with that, but it's sort of like, it's a good idea, good concept, executed pretty well, but it looks to me like it's not had that proofreading, finalization, you know, at which like you might get one with a more published, with like a published author. And I noticed that that was my same issues with the pattern that I bought separately. I think I bought it off Etsy. That again, they put like magic ring 10, and it was those same problems. So yeah, that's my issues with that. And I'm just going to say that just in case, you know, you're thinking of buying a Not Monsters pattern, I would not say any of them are beginner friendly, just because there is that element of assuming you know things, where someone who's got a bit more experience with you know, crocheting can look further in the pattern, see what they're trying to get you to do, and then go, oh yeah, this is what they're trying to get, you know, with the mistypes and things like that, or the assumptions, whereas a beginner I think would struggle more. So yeah, that's what so other than that, great pattern. And as I said, paid for because it's in the book. I used Starcraft Special DK in grass green for the pen, for the stem, and then Sunshine for the petals. The brown was just a random brown that I had in stash. I seem to have loads of this brown, like it's a big ball of brown. It must only be about 100 grams, but it seems like it's never ending. Anyway, so that is my only finished object, but let's show you what whips I've been working on. So first we have Frankenstein. I did show you all my wonky Frankenstein the other week, and we've now started working on his treat bowl. Now there is a treat bowl pattern in the pattern, but I've sort of, because I've used a smaller hook and yarn to do Frankenstein than what the pattern calls for, I've decided to fudge the basket myself to make it bigger widthwise at the bottom, so that you know, it's still going to be a decent sized treat bowl. And this is what I've got so far. So if you have a little look there, so what I did was I just kept increasing, basically did a magic ring here, and just kept, I think I did 6 in the initial magic ring, and then just increased, like, you know, so 2 single crochets in every stitch. The next row would be once, then the next row would be like 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochets. Carried on like that until I got to a size that's big enough. There must be over 100 going out here now, so it although it doesn't look that big, it is quite a lot of stitches, and it's all black. It was such, ooh, it was one of those you had to power through. And then what I'm doing is I'm doing 2 rows of single crochet in the black, and then 1 row in this colour, and yeah, just working it along like that. I am I don't know if you can tell there, but I am actually carrying up the yarn, so I'm attached with 2 balls at once. But yeah, and I'm using a 3.5mm hook on that, just because it doesn't have to be as tight knit as the Frankenstein. The Frankenstein I used a 3mm hook on. If I'm doing amigurumi with a DK weight yarn, 3mm is normally my go-to. But yeah, I've decided to use a 3.5 just because it doesn't need to be that, you know, sort of, what's the word, Abby? Think of your words. doesn't need to be that tight knit, and it's okay if you can see through it a bit, sort of thing. So yeah, that's what I'm working on with that. The black is Stylecraft Special DK Black, and this variegated yarn was from a shop called Poundland here in the UK. They just do little bits. It's like dollar store in the US, and they do bits of yarn every now and again. Well, they do have a little bit of yarn in most shops, but it's not like anything big or big selection that I've noticed in any of them. And I just grabbed a couple of them balls because I thought they were cool colours, and I think they are quite Halloweeny as well. They've got the purple, the orange, they've got like the like that goldy colour, which reminds me of like autumn, but then it's like quite bright and it contrasts really well against the black in my opinion. So yeah, that's where I've been working on that. The Frankenstein is a paid for pattern by Made by Mary. I will link that pattern, all of the patterns I do talk about, in the description box below. If I'm talking about a book, I will put the book name and the author in the description box. That way you can search for it and find where you're best getting it from. Just because, you know, I found it. I actually bought mine on Amazon because I won I was taking part in a make along, and I won 1 month's prize draw, so I got some crochet books from Amazon. So thank you to Judy for that lovely little gift card. It was a lovely prize, and I'm really glad that I'm getting to, you know, use them so quickly, and that my I'm going to be making pens for nurses with them. So yeah, well, not nurse, the same like they're the same band as a nurse in, and the pay, the way that's categorised is all like, they are categorised as sort of nurses, but it's not a nurse qualification that they do. They do something else. Anyway, it's mental health, so that's sort of different that they work in. Going off on a tangent here. So my third project of today, my second whip, is something you have not seen before. It's a mermaid tail. Well, it's going to be a mermaid tail. So this is the Mermaid Tail Afghan by Yarn Utopia. It is a free on her website, and then you can purchase a PDF version. So I'll link to the Ravelry store where you can purchase it, or go through to her website and find the free version. And yeah, so this, I love, the reason why I went for this pattern was because of the stitches. It reminds me of scales on a mermaid's tail. Basically, my older sister messaged me and said that her kids had found her mermaid tail that she had from a few years ago. You know those blankets that you sit with on the couch? They fell in love and were like, can we have one, can we have one? So she was texting me, can you make this for the girls, and will you make this for the girls? Answer was, of course. My niece is the most crochet worthy people I know. Anything you make, they adore. As I said earlier on in the video, made a crochet uterus. Whenever my niece goes over to my mum's house, she's always playing with the uterus, albeit she thinks it's a crown or a tiara, something like that. Don't know how, but hey ho, she loves it. So yeah, I'm gonna make them little mermaid tails. So it does tell you in the pattern, it gives you 3 sizes, I believe, and the pattern tells you how to adjust it to make it a bit of a different size. So I have adjusted it slightly, and I've also done another thing with adjusting. So if you have a little look here, it, I was going through patterns, so I'm not like going through anything. It tells you how to do it. It's like you go, you don't go round, basically. You work in rows, but you always go back to the original side of the row, which is why I have actually left the ends out all on one side. The ends on this side all woven in lovely, ends on this side not, because that makes me know that that's the end. And yeah, so, and then when you get down near the bottom, it does tell you how to join it, and I decided to join it a lot earlier rather than having to seam it up at the end, because I prefer to crochet in around than having to seam something up. So that's the alteration I've made with that pattern. I'm using a 4.5mm hook, and I'm using Stylecraft Special DK. The pink is fondant, the blue is aster, and the yellow is citron. and that's because that is what I had in stash. I had enough of to be able to make the two, I reckon I've got enough of to be able to make the two blankets. One's going to have a yellow tail, one's going to have a blue tail. Neither are having a pink tail, because if one of them has a pink tail, the other one's going to be upset that they don't have a pink tail. But yeah, lovely pattern, highly recommend it, and it's so therapeutic to do. And this has had most of my attention over the last week. And the reason it is if you follow me on Instagram, my young niece, my eldest niece, ended up in hospital. She is fine, thank you for everyone's kind prayers and wishes, but she's scared the living daylights out of us, let me tell you. Basically what happened was Sunday she was just not feeling well. She was not eating much, she wasn't drinking much, she was complaining her tummy was sore. Through the night she started vomiting and she got a temperature. 9 AM my sister rung up her doctors and was like, listen, my kid's not well, she's 5 years old, you know, this is what's going on. She can't keep Calpol down, so they were unable to get her temperature down at home. That was the main worry. So the GP told her to go straight to hospital, take my niece straight to A&E, and they did blood tests and found she was starting to suffer with a bit of dehydration. So they put her on IV fluids, anti-sickness IV, and you know, Calpol IV, just to try and get the temperature down and everything. And you know what, she improved so rapidly. Like, you know, my sister sent us a picture of her that evening before she was going to bed, where, you know, she was sat eating a biscuit in bed, you know, because they were like digestive biscuits, you know, to try and give her something to be able to eat and get a bit into her, get a bit of like blood sugar, like get some sugar in to help her blood sugars and stuff like that. So yeah, basically she was improving so fast, and she's like smiling at the camera, you know. She improved really quick, so that was a good thing. It was just that she's just had a little stomach bug, and it's just escalated because they couldn't get her temperature down via the Calpol, because she was just throwing up so much. But she's thankfully all okay now, she's doing great. But that is why this got a lot of, you know, of my time on it, because, you know, when you've got a loved one in that situation, there's nothing you can do. You're not a doctor, you can't do anything to, you know, sort of alleviate the pain, you can't make her better and things like that. And, you know, when you are just so scared, you know, you need to feel like you're doing something and making this for her. Obviously I knew she wouldn't be getting this before she came out of hospital, because hopefully she'd be out in hospital a day or two, and she was. But, you know, it was something I could be physically doing for her, albeit it's nothing to do with what was wrong, because it was just so scary. You know, I've been in hospitals a lot with myself as a carer and things like that. And I've seen, you know, people in all sorts of various stages of life and that at hospitals. You know, and you get used to seeing all the machines and stuff like that, but seeing a 5-year-old walk around with an IV pole, there's just something so scary when you see that, all to do with a tiny person. And yeah, so that's why this has had a lot of my love recently. It was a bit like therapeutic for me. So yeah, I've been working on that. Whew, long tangent, but she's all okay. And thank you everyone for all your lovely words. It really meant so much to know that so many people were hoping she'd get well and things like that. It really did mean a lot. But yeah, on to happier things. So the next thing I'm working on is my Salem Sweater. This is my only knitted project I've got on at the moment. It's going to be a big, gorgeous, oversized jumper. I'm using Stylecraft Special DK in the colourway Cloud Blue, because I bought enough of it to make a crochet cardigan, didn't like it, how it's working up. And so I thought, let's make a jumper, knitted jumper. But the thing I love about this jumper is the detailing on the sleeves. It's absolutely gorgeous. I do believe this is a paid for pattern, but it's very well written, very easy to do. I've not had an issue with it, and at the moment it is just round and round knitting, so it's quite easy to do, especially when you're sitting there of an evening. It's TV knitting for me, because I don't even have to look down at my stitches when I'm knitting. I can feel it around. If I'm crocheting, I do have to look down, you know, at the stitches and things like that every now and again, but I don't have to pay too much attention with some things. But with knitting, I don't. This is the project. If I'm ever going out somewhere in the car and it is night time, I take this with me, because I don't need to see what I'm doing, but I'm really enjoying it. And I'm using 4mm needles on this, and I've got it on circular knit needles. I didn't even show you how much progress I've got on it since the last time you saw it, which was a while ago because it was in hibernation. But yeah, where that stitch marker is how much I've got done. It does take a while to get long because I'm not a skinny person. I'm not thin, so yeah, it does take a bit of time getting round, but as long as I get round, that's the main thing. Right, and now finally, it's going to sound crazy, but my advent projects. So anyway, is it too early to be prepping for advent projects? I mean, I've not even got my advent calendar, yarn advent calendars yet, but I've started working on the advent project, so I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I will once I explain. So, using 2 of the colours from my advent calendar last year, I made this, which is a hexagon from the Hexagon Blanket. Make all these hexagons and it joins together. It's an absolutely beautiful pattern. It is a paid for pattern and it is by Craft House Magic. But even if you don't knit and you don't check out the pattern, it looks good. Like, don't, obviously if you don't knit and you're not going to use pattern, don't buy the pattern, but go and have a little look because the pictures, like, I think it looks absolutely fab. So I've got a hexagon here and then I'm going to obviously join the next hexagon on and keep going around. Now, with my advent calendars, I've got 2 of them. So I was going to use, you know, one day from both advent calendars to create one hexagon. So that meant I was going to have 24 hexagons. And I was thinking, right, okay, so that's going to be like, what, 4 by something? When I was working it out, I did realise, like, I did divide it into a number to be able to make a blanket, but I was like, it's not even going to be that big anyway. So I thought, you know what, use the day 1s and 2s. Sorry, not you. Use 2 from my previous advent calendar, then I'll have 25 hexagons and that's an even 5 by 5. Easy to do. So that's why I thought I'd do that, get that prepped there. And then I thought 50 is just an easier number to do with yarn anyway than having 98, because what I'm going to do, 98, 48, what am I on? Basically, I'm going to have a knit and crochet project on with my advent yarn. So this doesn't obviously use the full mini skein. With the leftovers and Caroline of the Area Bark podcast and Mandy of Masters Makes getting the total blame for doing this one, I am doing a corner to corner inspired by the Battenberg blanket. I've seen the Battenberg blanket for years now, loved it, always want to do it. Maybe I might do it in the future, but I just, yeah, wanted to do it. But then I saw that they were doing like a corner to corner version. I was like, ooh, I'll do that. So that's what I've done. And this is why I've sort of done them now in July rather than waiting until closer to Christmas, because I may have gifts I need to finish off, things like that. Hopefully the Mermaid Tails are well done by then. I'm not having to worry about them last minute. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to get them done now so I could work out how big the squares could be, where I'm using up most of the yarn, but that I've still got a bit of yarn left over in case that, you know, I use it more on one project or something, like, you know. But anyway, here's what I have got so far. So I've decided to do 8 by 8 squares, and I did just do that extra white one there because I thought more done before Advent with the white, the easier it is. Yeah, so it's going to basically have the alternating. So below this white will be a colour one, below that yellow and blue and pink one will be a white one, below there will be a colour. So they're going to be 10 blocks by 10 blocks because they are 100. It's going to be 100 squares when you take the 50 minis from the Advent, 2 Advent and these 2 spare ones, and then, you know, 50 squares of white to match. So yeah, should work out pretty okay. And what I'm going to do is, with the leftovers, I'm going to create a magic knot ball, probably do a border with it. So that is what I am thinking of at the moment. Or over time, if I wanted to, if these two are not that big, what I can always do is with any other minis I've got, I can add them in and make them bigger that way. But I'm prepped. I know what I'm doing now. This is just your standard corner to corner, and the tutorial I used, because I know how to do corner to corner, did the friend's blanket, and I did 2 Christmas blankets last year that were corner to corner, but I've never actually done join as you go corner to corner. And I'm thinking of doing another corner to corner graph down that's made up in patches, and I'm thinking about using the join as you go with it, to be honest. But yeah, the tutorial I did for the join of the, I followed for the join as you go is by Alex of My Yarny Corner, who one of my events is by. The other one is Mandy of Mouse's Makes, who, as I said, with Caroline, is the one who gave me the idea for that. So yeah, that is what we are up to. Oh, I didn't even mention what the white is for this. The white for this is what's it called? I've got it written on my phone here. Stylecraft Special Baby 4-ply in white. It was cheaper than the Stylecraft Special 4-ply in white, so got it. I think it was because it was on sale. I'm not sure whether it's regularly you can go, but yeah, I've got that. I've got a couple of skeins of that, so I should well have enough to do the 50 squares in stash now, and so yeah, I'll be able to get them done. But yeah, it's just been a crazy couple of weeks. As I said last week with my niece, just everything else was secondary thoughts. But yeah, hopefully the next 2 weeks will be a bit more chilled, and I've got a bit of crochet time. I'm not going to do my other video this week. Normally comes up on a Monday. I am going to put it up on a Wednesday instead, just because it's I've not been able to film it till I'm not going to be able to film it till tomorrow, but I'm working tomorrow. Basically what happens is my dad ordered a knee brace off Temu, and it wasn't, you have to spend over £10 on Temu, and so I said, oh, I'll put in a cheap set of crochet hooks to take it over that £10, and then that way, you know, he could get it delivered. And I thought, I can always try them out. It's always handy to have hooks around, because I'm always losing my hooks. Don't know about anyone else, but I'm always losing mine. So I thought, yeah, it'll be handy to have around, at least, even if that's just it, it's just they're handy. And you know, there, if I cannot find my other hook, like my nice 3mm or my nice 4mm hooks, then I've got them, sort of thing. So yeah, I've ordered them, but they should arrive tomorrow. Yeah, so I'm not going to be able to film and do an accurate review by Monday, so that's going to wait until Wednesday. But anyway, I'm going to get going, get this edited and uploaded, and I will speak to you all on my crochet hook review. Take care, stay safe, I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.